Hello, everyone, and welcome to the As Seen on TV podcast for The Walking Dead Season 4, Episode 6, Live Bait. I'm your host, Dom, and with me I have Keep Calm and Kill Zombies and the Necronomicron.
Also, John.
And Indy. Angela.
I'll be Angela here.
You'll be Angela. How's it going, guys?
Good.
Very good.
That's good. That's good. So, what'd you guys think of this episode?
I loved it. I loved it so much. So much.
I did not love it at all.
Alright, Angela, why did you like it so much?
Because we're looking at, and I'm a huge fan of seeing characters in their weakest moments and seeing like that defining moment where they either sink or swim. And for the governor, this governor-centric episode takes a character who we view as like profoundly evil, just evil to the core, and we see that he has this part of him that is capable of shame, it's capable of remorse, and in my opinion, he is turning his back on the man that he was and trying to perhaps go forward as a different person.
And John, why did you not like this episode?
Because all they did last season was destroy that image of him, and they just spent all this time turning him into the sociopath for him to just fucking turn back to this goody two-shoes idiot. That and the family they introduced in this lovely episode was completely useless. They serve no. I don't get them. I don't care about them. You know, and it was just tropey. And I totally called that they were gonna fuck by the end of the episode, and they totally did. And I hated her for it.
Well, it's not about the fucking though. It's about the human contact, and that he had all but shut down, and then by the end of the episode, he was willing to let someone touch him in the most intimate way you could be touched.
He was a womanizer, though. You know, this wasn't new for him. When
he wasn't a womanizer always.
Yeah, when he was governor, he was. I mean, he was just slamming chicks every night.
Was.
Which eventually ended up being Andrea. Was.
Yeah, until Andrea came along.
And then he was just slamming Andrea every night, which...
Yeah,
whatever.
He was a monogamous womanizer.
Yeah, I don't know.
All they needed was some Britney Spears.
We'll get to more of my complaints later, but anyway.
So Indy, you definitely thought this was a good thing to have a governor-centric episode.
I think it was really important because I was one of the first people last season who was just clamoring for this man's death. And then after I saw after his zombie daughter was slain by Michonne, you see him start to spiral down, his like descent into darkness, if you will. And then this character who we find to be, completely irredeemable, like he's pretty much sunk as far as he can to the point where he's given up on life. I now find myself rooting for him, and I think that showing that it's more than about the fact that he gets laid at the end or the fact that he finds this family who we don't care about. It's about the fact that this family affects him, and this little girl affects him and makes him want to protect again and makes him want to be touched again. And all these things from this one family who he didn't know the day before. That's what I love most about the story. Is it's not about the individual little things that happen. It's seeing what they're doing with this one character. I guess that's what fascinates me the most.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm kind of on the fence. I like this episode for all the backstory. We needed a lot of backstory. We needed to find out what the governor's been up to this whole time. So this was a very needed episode. But at the same time, it felt a little slow, but that was necessary. It's the necessary evil. You sometimes, when telling a story like this, when everything goes so fast-paced in this series, this particular season here, it's been ramping up. Right from episode 1, the action has just been ramping up, and it's getting more and more intense. There has to be a moment where you just sit take a rest and breathe and take some of that in. So I think this was the perfect time for them to do that flashback, but it felt just a little bit out of place to me. That was the only issue I had with it.
It was just they had this, like you said, they had this great momentum building up, and then it was just like, oh, okay, what?
Yeah.
And there was no risk of death on the governor's part because like we knew he was going to survive the whole. I mean, obviously he survives all of this, so like, showing him almost getting killed. Oh no! But it's like we know, like, there's no risk here for him. Like we know he's going to make it. We know he's going to be fine. We don't know what happens to this lovely family, but it's like, hey, we just met, but could you go get something for me?
I don't think they wanted to show. Well, I didn't think they wanted you to be afraid that he was going to die, because I think it's evident if they didn't kill him at the end of last season, he's going to be a primary character. But I think that they wanted to show you. Like, I would have been kind of disappointed if we just picked right up where we left off the last episode, just to kind of see him standing there like, oh, hey, all right, where have you been? Nobody knows. Yeah. What have you done? I don't know. I guess I have a different take on it because I love storytelling. I love character arcs and seeing people change.
Well, you're kind of a writer too, so it's got a little bit of that feel to it from your point of view. So I mean, I can totally understand that.
Sure. Yeah. No. I definitely get that. It was just we definitely needed a governor episode. Like this was totally necessary. I get that. It's just I think it could have just been done a lot better. The pacing was a little off, and the fact that like it just seemed a little disingenuous, just because it's like, hey, like we just met, but could you go like save a backgammon set? Oh, okay. It's like when Link gets to an island, it's like, could you save our village and kill the dragon and get the pearl and the hook shot?
And then
hi, I'm Jim.
And then go save Princess Zelda.
Like it's like, okay, hold on, whoa, we just met. It was.
Well, I just met you, and this is crazy. So here's my number.
Little girl was who broke through to him, and because the backgammon set was something that would have made her happy in a post-apocalyptic world, I think he had this just deep down desire to. No,
I get that, but the balls of these people to be like, "Hey, you just got here, but could you just go get a backgammon set?"
Yeah.
Like just. Dick, move.
So what do you guys
Gramps
think of,
asked them that.
What does Indy kind of already expressed? John, what did you think about seeing the governor kind of at his lowest? Like the last time we saw the governor, he was well put together. He was this, clean shaven guy, and then we get this.
I mean, honestly, that was kind of cool. I mean, seeing him just this battered and broken person was definitely cool because, you would think he would just continue on just pimp stepping through the zombies, like he was, just blam blam blam, everything dies, and it was definitely cool to see him off his game, that he was actually capable of being off of his game.
There was one moment that I thought was a little funny. I liked when he said to the little girl, she goes, "What are you?" or "Who are you?" and he goes, "I'm a pirate." Yeah. I was like, cute. That was kind of funny. You get some comedy out of the governor here, and she's like, no, you're not. And I don't know. It was just a really funny moment. I liked it.
No, I did actually enjoy that scene. I will say I did enjoy that scene.
But do you think the governor would have simply died, laid down?
Yes.
If he had not seen that little girl in the window?
Yes.
Probably.
Yeah, he had given up on life.
I think he was. I mean, I don't even know if he would have been able to get up.
I have kind of, because I watched The Talking Dead, and the actor had said that his character had just given up on life. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of
so the governor was on the Talking Dead?
Oh. Yeah.
Okay. See, I didn't get to watch it this week.
It kind of explains some of the thought processes going on behind a lot of the things that happen. But I mean, he's such an amazing actor. You kind of can just feel when he's shuffling through and not even raising a weapon to any of these zombies.
Yeah, like he really felt something for this little girl. She was like almost like his redemption.
Daughter. Yeah, he missed his daughter. And And in a
Yep.
way, her mother told him the story when he came in, that she saw him out the window and she thought that was her long lost father that walked out on them years ago.
Right.
So not only does he see this little girl as a potential, you know, beacon of hope, but he sees her as somebody who's, like the father walked out. How could a father walk out on their daughter? He kept his daughter even after she turned.
Yeah.
So I think he's gonna and I hope nothing happens to the kid, but he's gonna stick by that kid and protect her, and I like seeing him in that role.
You know the kid's at least gonna get thrown into danger a few times. We already saw it. We already saw it this episode. So
Well,
to bring the
Walking Dead
governor
loves
to the
to put kids in danger.
to bring the governor to the point that he's got to get at, you need to put the one thing he cares about in danger. And the
Yeah.
only way at this point, it seems, to get him back to the governor we know from last season would be to take that little girl away in some fashion. So I think doing that would cause him to snap once again. So do you guys agree? Do you think that's something that we're going to see this season?
Yeah, he still
So-
is. He still harbors that person that he was. He's capable of anything. It's just the conditions have to be right.
He's just kind of setting it to the side for now, I guess. It's weird. It doesn't jive with me too well that he just went from, like, I hate all human life. I mean, I get it. He shot a bunch of people. He was sad about it, broken, blah, blah, blah. I get that. But it seems too, like too much like flipping a switch for me. So I feel like something's going to happen in this, hopefully, this next episode that's going to make us go like, oh, okay, he's still... all right.
So when did his downfall actually begin?
When Blondie
Penny-
showed up.
When Michonne killed Penny, zombie Penny.
So you think the moment his daughter died is kind of when he went off the rails, or do you think he's kind of been this way the whole time?
Well,
Yeah.
hold on a sec, because I was thinking about it, and you know how he had Milton running these experiments where people who were terminally ill would just volunteer to like die there, and then they would do these experiments to kind of see if any part of them remained after they turned. And I think that those experiments, now knowing what was most important to him, those experiments to him were like the most important thing, because his daughter had turned and he kept her locked away with just the shred of hope that maybe part of her still remained. And so that's what, that's when he probably started going crazy after his daughter turned.
Yeah.
But he didn't go ballistic until Michonne just drove a sword through her face.
Up to that
Yeah.
point, he still had hope. Even as a zombie, he still had her, and he still had hope. So
Right.
I think you're right. I think Michonne was the catalyst behind his overall downfall.
I think no matter what, no matter how good of a person he might become, he's still going to want her dead no matter what. And that's going to be the odds between.
Yeah.
It's going to be pretty interesting. I can't wait to see.
One thing that I was very excited that we got to see this episode, he gets in the truck and he just plows right through the gates of Woodbury. Right? I'm like, what the hell is he doing? What did he leave behind that's so important? But that's not what he does at all. He goes in there and he torches the place.
Yeah.
Fire everywhere, and he just stands there and he watches it burn. He watches it burn.
He needed to.
Did I get his face right? Yeah.
Why? Why did he torch Woodbury?
Burning memories, I suppose.
Well, this was after the last two people remaining of his people left him
Right.
alone. Right?
They
So-
left him in the middle of the night. He went to sleep, he woke up, and they were gone.
I think he just wanted to torch his past and torch that memory. It was probably like a little bit therapeutic for him to be able to do that. Kind of like when you break something when you're really mad.
Right. So
Well-
why... Oh, go ahead, John.
I was going to say, just because, like, he had already killed his entire town, and it's like, it was almost like, screw these ungrateful bastards. This is what they get.
Yeah.
Like, that's it. You're all dead, your town's dead, and I killed your cat.
So why do you think they left him in the middle of the night, or left him at all? Like, obviously, leaving him in the middle of the night is so he couldn't turn against them, or say no, don't go. But why did they leave in the first place?
Because he lost his self-preservation, and in an apocalypse, a zombie apocalypse, like you saw that big guy, what the hell was his name, Martinez or something?
Yeah.
Looking at him and just shaking his head like, who are you? I think that's when they just realized that he was lost and that he would be a hindrance to them. You know, those two guys are very capable, and with the governor all ruined, and he would have just been a liability.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they didn't. I mean, they were just getting the hell out of Dodge. They knew he was unstable. They were like, you know what? We're just better off on our own. Let's go.
For me, the defining moment is right at the very start of the episode when you see him sitting by the campfire and the zombie just walks through the field, trips over the campfire, and he's just sitting there the whole time. And it's not until, I think it was Martinez, shot him.
Yeah.
And just looked at him like, what the fuck are you doing?
What's wrong with you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think that was the defining moment that made them want to leave because, as you said, he was kind of unstable. So.
Well, he murdered his entire group of people, almost his entire group of people, but
right.
You know, that had to play into things as well.
So when the governor gets there and he meets the family and they ask for his name, he gives the name Brian Harriet. Why do you guys think he chose that name? Is that his name, or is Philip that I forget what his last name was from the last season?
He never told Andrea last name. I don't think he just said Philip. I think.
So.
But that was Milton referred to him as Philip as well. So that was his name in the town for sure. Mm-hmm. So.
I know the answer to this one, so I won't say.
Go for it.
I mean, I think he took that name just because it was a dead man's name, and I figure. I mean, I guess if you want to go the route that he wanted to kind of shed his older self, Philip was dead. I'll just take a dead man's name and resurrect it in a way. Yeah. Or he's just being a manipulative bastard and doesn't want people to know who he really is. I mean, you never know with this guy.
That's true.
He, on his way, as he's like shuffling down the street and just kind of not giving a shit about anything, he stops at this shed and it's got spray paint all over it, and on it there's the name Brian Harriet all over the place, and there's messages of there's the picture, there's messages of just abandoning hope and just like so and so died and this and that, and he said on The Talking Dead that it was he took that name because he obviously wanted to shed that governor persona that he had before, because he couldn't even bear to look at that man anymore.
Yeah.
And so here's a name of somebody that had obviously either died or the whole family died, and so I guess that's why he took that name. But in addition to that, it becomes more apparent later on when he has a family picture that he looks at, and the first thing he does is he folds the picture over his own face so he doesn't have to look at himself. So then we know that he has shame. And then eventually, as the episode moves on and he starts to let go of that man that he was, he burns it. He burns a family photo that has his daughter in it. So I think it's evident that he's ready to just let go of the person that he was. Philip, the governor, whatever.
Yeah. It's also worth mentioning in the comics, the governor's name was Brian Blake. So do you think this taking the name Brian was kind of a nod to the comics?
I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it might be. They do that once in a while. They just throw a little like, sure, here you go.
Yeah, because like we've mentioned before, the comics really don't, or I should say the show really doesn't follow the comics too closely. They've been using the settings and some of the characters and whatnot, but there's a lot of it. Like we've mentioned, I think Daryl and his brother Merle, they're not even in the comics at all. So,
well, thank God they're in the show.
Yeah.
Well, one of them still.
So there's
No.
so many differences. Like I know which characters this season are supposed to die based on what happens in the comics, but as we've learned from previous seasons, characters that were supposed to have died on those seasons are still alive, walking around on the show. So
Yep.
who knows if those characters are going to die later, like Shane did. Shane died a lot later in the show than he did in the comics.
Thank goodness,
So-
because I would have been sad if he died
Right.
any sooner.
Yeah, so like I don't want to go into spoilers for that regard because I know you guys, especially with the discussion we had a while ago, you didn't want to know comic book spoilers because they could potentially carry over.
Yeah.
So like knowing that, I know somebody who was supposed to have died last season, I think they're going to die this season. Somebody that's
Don't
supposed
say
to
it.
die this season, I don't think is going to die.
Don't
And
don't
no,
even
I'm
say
not.
it.
I'm not.
Yeah,
but I'm
I
just
mean-
saying, like I have this information, it's floating around in my head, so like it's just I'm watching
that
it
sucks
and then
for
seeing
you.
that it's unfolding a completely different way. It's I don't know, it's difficult. It's like an alternate universe. You're like, what is real and what's not? You know, it's hard to keep track of it. But I guess
Well, yeah.
yeah. So I guess the ultimate question for you guys is the governor redeemable?
No. No,
Absolutely. If we're talking about today's world, like if we were living in today's time with no apocalypse going on, probably not. But because everything that happened to him or with him happened after the fact, I think that anybody is capable of anything and given the right conditions. And they can snap, they can break. He's done some deplorable things. But in that world, I mean, I want to see, I'm rooting for him right now. And yes, I believe he's still capable of those things, but I really do think that now that he has someone to protect and someone to care about and potentially someone to love, I think that he's also capable of good things.
Yeah, he certainly is. I mean, and that's not to say that he's not, this added dimension to him, but I don't know. He's just like, I know that this is a world where zombies and, people do horrible things and, your morality is just, all gone. I mean, but he lost all regard for human life at one point, and unfortunately, I mean, if those people knew what happened, like this new little family he's got, I really doubt they would be anywhere near him.
Oh
You
yeah,
know, like,
definitely.
I mean, and I don't think as just an audience like just someone as a part of the audience, I don't forgive him. I can't. I mean, he killed innocent people just out of anger, and while we've seen other characters do similar things where they've killed people for different reasons, it's never just been out of pure spite, and that he just has. As good as he's being now, I just don't think he's going to stay on his best behavior for long enough for me to actually really say, you know what, yeah, he's worth, he's worth it. He can change.
Yeah, like we were talking about this before we went live and whatnot, but we're still not caught up to present day timeline. So there's a lot that can happen. We don't know how far back this story that we just watched actually was told. We know it was a few months later after the Woodbury incident, after he escaped. But we're still not caught up to present day yet. We see, he's cleaned up, he's clean shaven. They did leave the apartments, they're in the truck. But last episode we saw him standing in front of the prison. So we still need to find out how he gets there.
Mm-hmm.
And do you guys think there is a chance that he's going to want to move into the prison with them?
No. Could you imagine?
No, he's crazy, not
Could you
stupid.
imagine him living under the same roof as Rick? Rick would kill him.
He'd be dead. No.
Well,
So if he's not there to move in, what is he there for?
that is so hard to
I think he
say.
wants it.
Well, he's made it apparent that he wants Michonne. That was his goal all along since the moment she interfered with his, business. He wants her dead. And
Yeah.
part of me feared, because this is one thing, not in episode 6, but in the previous episode, internment, episode 5, we see Michonne getting into her Jeep, getting ready to take off from the prison, and then Herschel comes out and he's just like, she says, "You want to come along?" And he says, "Hell yes, I do." And he jumps in, and now I worry about the two of them, because Michonne, we know from the last time we saw her, she is outside the prison, and so is the governor. So is Herschel, and I care very much about Herschel. Sorry to say, I care about Herschel a bit more than Michonne. And he's Papa Smurf, and so I worry about the two of them.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, it would be weird though, like, you know, because if he's really turning over this new leaf, if that's what they're doing with this character, is he still going to hold that grudge against Michonne?
It's hard to say.
It's hard to see.
Probably.
No, that's. I mean,
I don't know.
It broke him so hard. Like I could actually see him just reverting back to just rage mode when he sees her, and just losing it.
What's to keep her from not? I mean, she's changed a lot as well.
She'll just kill him. But she'll kill him.
I mean, there's that. It's going to be interesting because we know that she's outside the prison, and we know that he's outside the prison.
Yeah.
Yep. So what do you guys, if you see Michonne getting ready to confront the governor, and she's getting ready to kill him, and then the little girl comes between them, what do you think Michonne's reaction would be? Do you think
I don't think Michonne would hurt an actual kid.
I'm not saying hurt the kid, but do you think she would still take care of the governor?
That's a good question. If the little girl was like crying, "Don't hurt my daddy," if she thinks that's her daddy, which she already said that she did, it's hard. That's a tough call. Michonne has grown close to Carl and Rick. She sees that relationship, and I don't know. It's a tough call. I don't want to say, because I don't want to be wrong, and I also don't want to predict if anything bad happens to either one of them, because that would mean that they got caught.
So, what do you guys think in this relationship that they have, the governor and the little girl? I forget her name, but
Megan.
Megan. Who is more dependent on who in this relationship?
Ooh. Well, as far as emotional integrity is involved, the governor needs her so bad. He really, really needs her. I mean, but, you know, she needs just as much, if not more, physical protection, so I'd say it's pretty symbiotic.
She also lost her father. She's been waiting for her father to come home, so I dare to say, even emotionally, they're equally invested in each other.
Yeah. No, I guess that's true. Yeah.
That part at the very end, when he's like, "Come on, Megan, you know, let's go. We have to go. Drop your bag." And she stands there and she hesitates because she's scared. But then she throws her arms up for him. I'm sorry. I know you guys all hate the governor, but that was just like it was very heartwarming for me. So
the governor's a character that you love to hate.
No, I just love to love him. I will openly say I love his character. He's got some dark, twisty demons buried deep in there, but who doesn't? It's all about how you act upon those things, and I mean, I could be wrong. He could go psycho and murder the entire village that he comes across, but I don't think that's going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. I don't hate I love the governor as a character. I think he's awesome, and I do think that, you know, what happened in that pit was genuine. There was no way it wasn't. I mean, he viciously fought those zombies. So that wasn't my problem with the episode, going back to the beginning. My problem with the episode was this family. They just, Megan, the dynamic with the governor and Megan was awesome. It fit. It was fine. You know, their scenes together were great. But the two women, I just could care less about. They were really useless and kind of annoying for the most part.
Yeah, no,
and
I
they
totally
really
agree.
just bogged it. They bogged the hell out of this episode.
I thought the one looked a little bit like Maggie.
Yeah, kind of.
But,
the shorter-haired one, right?
Yeah.
I don't predict that the two of them are going to be playing a major role. I mean, I think that it's quite possible that something happens to them and he is left with this daughter.
I wouldn't mind that.
I mean, who knows? I wouldn't mind that either. I just want the little girl to be okay. Because if something happens to her, all bets are off. All bets are off.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep. Angela, you had something to note about the pit fight that John was just talking about, didn't you?
I'm a huge fan of Game of Thrones, and so if any of you guys remember the fight between Khal Drogo and Christ, I forget his name now. When he rips the guy's throat out, one of his own, Dothraki style,
Yeah.
he did the same thing. The governor did the same exact thing to that zombie, and that's like the first thing that popped into my mind was not only was that badass, but he did exactly what Khal Drogo had done in the fight, unarmed. So it just goes to show you that completely unarmed and like he didn't fight like that the entire episode long, faced with zombies, faced with all different kinds of threats, you know, going to retrieve things for the family. But when he was with that little girl and he had someone to protect, he fought like a beast. And so it was good to see.
Definitely.
It's kind of weird that he values her life more than his own.
I think he does. I think he would die for that little girl, and I'm pretty certain. Oh God, I hope that's not what happens. I didn't say that.
Prediction from Angela.
No, it's not a prediction.
Ooh. You know what happens on As Seen on TV podcast predictions? They all come true.
No.
Not all of them. At least one of them.
You know,
everybody's theory somewhere along the line. We discuss the theories. One of those person theories is always right.
I don't want that. That one just cannot be right.
I'll leave it at that.
see, but you know that is the risk for him, and I think you kind of hit it on the head. Is that if he kind of has this habit of throwing himself emotionally into people, and not himself. So his sanity is reliant on other people most of the time, from what we've seen from him. You know, like as soon as his daughter was gone, that was it. He's over. You know, if remotely anything happens to this little girl, forget it. I mean, he's hinging on her.
Yep.
So that might be his big.
Yeah. So next episode we have the governor, and it says a scary new chapter is unfolding at the camp outside the prison.
That's a great picture.
Will peace be attained with the addition of new members?
Hold on, can we just look at the governor for a second?
No, he's gone. So what about this camp? What do you guys think this camp is in reference to? Do you think this is the camp that the governor stumbled across with his old people?
Probably.
Yeah, I mean, there was the preview that played right after the episode shows you that these two guys, they've amassed some people, and they're plenty capable. I mean, they had guns, they had transportation, they've got resources. So I think that, and it kind of scares me because what they're building up could be a threat to the prison as well. But I also hope that because there seems to be women and children there, that it won't be. So who knows?
Yeah.
I mean, he might just do like covert actions like he did, keep the masses kind of out of the inner workings of things, and they'll do whatever it takes to survive in the background.
Yeah.
So it says, will peace be attainable with the addition of new members? So do you think that's the governor and his quote-unquote family being added to this group? Is that the new members that they're talking about here?
Probably. But I don't think it's new members to the prison, because none of them are joining the prison, that's for sure.
No.
Maybe the goal of these people that segregated from him, maybe their goal was to move into the prison, and maybe they're just like, screw you, we're going without you because they won't take you. So maybe that's why the governor was left standing out there. Who knows?
Okay, so
it could be anything.
on that note, what do you guys think of this? All that's going down. These guys have a big plan. They're going to attack the prison. And the reason that we saw the governor standing outside the prison, because he's trying to decide whether or not he wants to warn them.
That would be like the ultimate redemption.
That's interesting.
Why would he warn them though?
Yeah, that's what I was about to say.
I don't know,
Because
but
there's no one in there that he really cares about.
But he's kind of a changed person now. He knows there's kids in there, and
We also have no clue where Carol is,
right.
what she's doing.
For all we know, she could be in this new camp.
Oh God.
When we found out the show title that said Live Bait, that was everybody's kind of in the back of our minds, like Carol's out there.
So what did you think the live bait was in reference to this episode? Do you think it was the governor himself? Because that's the way it came off to me. Because he was
I think
laying
it's the little
there.
girl.
He sat back. The zombie comes across, almost attacks him on the fire. He's just laying back watching it. He doesn't care. Like, he's almost the live bait. And then he just lays down in the street. That I took it as the governor himself was the live bait. And
I think it's Megan.
You think it's Megan?
Because he's face down on the ground, giving up on life. If he did not see that little girl up in the window, he'd be dead. And so she lured him out of that situation, and she also led him through the various stages of his like re-submerging of who he wanted to be. And so I think she was the bait, but that's just me being all, I don't know, all about the feels.
Yeah, I think I'm with you, Dom. I think it was the governor here. He was the bait, you know.
Yeah.
It was just like he was bait. He basically it's very, very descriptive in the fact that he was just this husk of a man for the beginning of the episode. So, he fell down on the floor. That wasn't Walker bait. I don't know what was.
Yeah.
Oh, that's what they call Glenn.
Any final thoughts, guys?
Yay, Governor. Can't wait to see what happens next.
Boo annoying women who, for some reason, need a man in their life to get anything done.
Just slaughter them all. Slaughter them all.
They didn't seem to know anything because they didn't know. Obviously, he's just like, she said, my sister's been up there shooting them, but they just keep getting back up. They didn't even know to shoot them in the head. Like, they were so oblivious to everything going on outside.
So useless.
Well,
they would have been
Gramps
would have killed them all if the governor hadn't shown up.
You also have to remember, though, that they're living in a world where there's no prior knowledge to zombies. So games like Left 4 Dead and things and zombie movies don't exist in this world that they're living in. So
that sucks.
So we, as viewers, automatically know from enough zombie media, shoot them in the head. But when you're confronted this and you don't have that prior knowledge, it's kind of difficult to figure out that something that normally would take a human down by shooting them in the chest, shooting them in the heart, shooting them in the leg, is not taking them down. And the head isn't necessarily your first thought.
That's not why I hate them as much as their personalities suck. They're just sucky.
I'm totally in agreement with you on that.
Yeah. But anyway, that's all.
Yep. Indy, Angela, where can the people find you?
Well, it's Indy. I am on Twitch, on YouTube, and Twitter at Indy Garona, and come find me.
Do it now. John, where can the people find you in your Necronomicon or Necrocrominon? I don't know. How do you pronounce that thing?
Necronomicon.
Necronomicon. There we go.
And you can find us little kids at No More on Twitter if you'd like. Demons come from him. From me.
Hit the road, Jack, and don't you come back. No more. And you can follow me on Twitter at Phenomedom, Phenomedom. And you can find all of us at the As Seen on TV podcast on Facebook and Twitter /ASOTV podcast. Until next week. See you guys later.
Bye. Oh, Governor.